Imagine getting paid on stocks or ETFs you already own. I'm not talking about dividends, but a chunk of change in addition to dividends. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Raj and I like to make money. I built this channel to share ideas and collaborate with all you smarts out there. My goals are very simple. Attain financial independence by building everlasting wealth. In the next two videos, this one and the next, I will share my strategy, how I generate weekly income on my existing leveraged ETF positions. But this can be applied to any stock you own. It is based on covered calls, and if you know anything about options, it is a pretty popular strategy. Now, this strategy can be applied to any stock or ETF you own, but as I have discovered, it gets really interesting with leveraged ETFs. In this video, I will cover the basics of covered call strategy, how you can set it up in Fidelity, and key points to remember so that you can successfully generate a steady income. I am going to make a few assumptions. You invest in stocks and you have a decent understanding of options. With that said, let's dive in. Here is the textbook explanation of what covered call is. Got it? Let's simplify. John has 100 shares of XYZ. This is his long-term position, which he plans to hold for a while. John is thinking about buying that shiny new overpriced Tesla and is looking for ways to generate additional income over and above the dividend that XYZ distributes. He is a conservative guy who likes to minimize risk as much as possible and is not a huge fan of selling his long-term positions and deal with capital gains. So the question is, what can he do? He could write or sell call option on XYZ. Loaded sentence. Here is what it means. Let's say XYZ is trading at $100. Based on history, John does not believe that XYZ will go over 105 in the next 30 days. And John is ready to bet on this. Anna, on the other hand, feels bullish about the stock and is betting that it will rise above $105. Now, they can bet via a call option contract where John writes or sells this contract and Anna purchases at $3 per share premium. Why would someone venture into this? It's simply a bet. Let's look at some possible outcomes to understand why even do this. Scenario 1, stock price rises above $105. John is now obligated to sell the stock for $105, which is fine since he sold the stock at a price much better than what he was expecting, plus he gets to keep the premium. Not the best outcome for John, but this can be managed if John gets the strategy right. Anna, on the other hand, has an option to purchase the stock at $105. Even if the stock is trading at $110, she can buy it for a discount of $5. Scenario 2, stock price is exactly at $105. John earns the premium, and assuming Anna decides not to exercise the option to buy, he also keeps the shares. For Anna, chances are she's simply going to forego the option to buy. Since it means nothing, strike price is the same as the market price. She is still going to lose the premium she paid on this option. Her loss is John's gain. Scenario 3, stock price stays below $105. Perfect scenario for John. He gets to keep the premium and the stock. Anna has no reason to buy the stock from John since strike price of $105 is more than what this stock is trading in the market. Why buy at a higher price when you can buy it for cheap? The premium is how John generates income, and he can do this month after month and generate a steady stream of income to pay for his Tesla as long as he is right and his stock stays below the option strike price. Few things you should know when considering covered calls, and I'll walk through an example in Fidelity to bring all of this together. You need to own at least 100 shares of a stock. Every contract equals 100 shares. So with 100 shares, you can write one contract. 1,000 shares equal 10 contracts. Premium and option chain is displayed per share. Three values are super important when picking an option: implied volatility, open interest, and delta. Implied volatility measures how much movement there has been recently in option prices. Higher the implied volatility, higher the premium. Next, options interest. You want to get into options with high open interest. This means there is liquidity and spread between bid and ask, or what people are willing to pay for or sell at is tight. In simple language, high open interest means you will be able to open and close positions at the price you're looking for. Finally, delta. It tells you how much the contract price will move per dollar move in the stock. It also gives you a rough probability of contract expiring in the money. Lower the delta, better chance of success with covered call. But as you go lower, so does your premium. The sweet spot for delta, in my opinion, is 30 to 35%. It is different for leveraged ETFs. More in my next video. To open a position or write or sell a call, you are going to pick sell to open. To close, buy to close. Of course, you can let it expire worthless. Avoid writing calls during period of earnings. Earnings means sudden price changes. You want to keep things as predictable as possible. You can also close your position early. You don't have to wait the entire month. If you have captured 85 to 95% of the premium, close the position, buy to close, and move on to the next month. Keep collecting more premium. Put a buy to close order right after you sell calls. This way you can automate closing your position. Have a process in place: bookmark, watch list, option chains, automate where possible, and get consistent. Remember, our goal is to generate monthly income. So get organized and do everything you can to keep those shares and collect premium month after month. Don't forget taxes. Income or loss is recognized when the call is closed, either by expiring worthless, by being closed with buy to close, or by being assigned where you are obligated to sell the stock. Premium is taxed as short-term capital gains when you buy to close and close your position. If the call gets assigned and you had the stocks for over a year, it will be tagged as long-term. You can do this in an IRA account, and it is smart to do this in a Roth IRA since you don't have to worry about taxes. Remember, you can never lose money doing covered calls, and if done right, it can end up being a steady source of income. In my next video, I'm going to talk about how I use covered calls with leveraged ETFs. And knowing how the world hates leveraged ETFs, I'm probably the only guy who does this. It generates a decent chunk of change on a weekly basis. So stay tuned and get subscribed to get notified. Logged in to my Fidelity account, and by the way, this is unscripted, real-time recording, so I apologize if there are audio issues or I stumble upon a thing or two. Anyway, so when you first log in, you want to make sure your account is ready for trading options, and to do that, or at least to get authorization, you want to go under account features and brokerage and trading. You just want to make sure you can do options trading, right? If you can't, this is where you can apply to do options, and it's going to give you what tier of option you want to apply to. Right now I am available to do tier 1. Essentially, here are the different tiers. What we're trying to do is sell covered calls. As you can see, all the tiers allow you to do that. So at the very minimum, you want tier 1 options training, which allows you to sell covered calls. So, this is where you would apply options, and, anyways, if when you click on options, it's going to say, hey, this particular account is eligible, and you click apply, and then for me, it just happened automatically, and I was able to, it was authorized within minutes. Anyway, so these are the tiers. Once you do that, then you're ready to trade or sell covered calls. Yeah. Now how do you open a position? So let's look at the screen right here. Now I have this particular ETF. Now you could do your existing stock or any ETF, but when you click on it to open a position, look for this button, which is options chain. When you do that, it's going to open another page like this with that ETF. For the purpose of this example, we're going to look at Apple because you guys are familiar with. Assuming you want to do monthly, we can toggle these switches so that you see limited stuff. So I'm going to turn off weekly, I'm just gonna keep these other things open and just say apply, right? Essentially, this allows you to pick and choose which months you want to see. So I just chose September, October, November, December, and well, let's just do this year. Now, the 3 things that we're looking for, right? So this one is 25 days out. It's reasonable. Typically, you want to do 30 days, 25 is fine. So let's look at a few things that I've talked about in my earlier in the video. This is the open interest. These are the number of contracts that are open. As you can see, whole values have more open interest versus 0.7, 0.5 values, which has less open interest. So I would stick with whole values like 175, 180, 185, just because there's a lot of interest there. Then you want to look at implied volatility. As I said, higher the implied volatility, higher the premium you're going to get. So this is the other column. And then delta, this is the probability of this option ending in the money. Now, this one is 15 around 15%. 0.15 essentially means 15%. Typically, you want to target somewhere around 30%. Okay, so if I look at where Apple is right now, it's at 168. You're betting that it won't go over 175. And for that, you're looking at this option of 175. Looks like it's got, point 30 delta. It's got, implied volatilities, and it's not great. It would be nice if it were a little bit higher, but it is what it is. Here's the premium. This is per share, right? You could go lower, which gives you higher probability of success. But that also means you're going to take lesser premium in, and then after a while, it doesn't really make it worthwhile. But at the end of the day, it all depends on how much risk you're going to take. Okay, so let's assume we want to buy this particular option at option contract at 175. The way you would do this is, drop down and you're going to say sell to open. And you click that, it's going to open a window. Of course, I don't own Apple in this account, but essentially this is what the window is going to look like. Sell to open, quantity. Let's say I have, 500 shares of Apple. Per contract is 100 shares. So I could do 5 contract. It's a call ending in 1 month out or 25 days, 175 strike. This is the ask and bid. Okay, great. And, I'm going to take the midpoint. Everything else remains the same. This is what you're going to collect. And then there is, of course, this 0.65 per contract fee that Fidelity charges. This is what you're going to take in as your premium. Okay, so assuming you went through this trade and you submitted the order after previewing, what does it look like in your account? Here's another account where I have some open, where I've sold some calls on these 2 ETFs. For example, for SOXL, I sold 17 contracts and it's going to show a negative value. My cost, I've got it at 0.14 cent per share in terms of price. And I pocketed around, this is my cost basis. But essentially, this also includes the fee that Fidelity charges. But if you do 1,700, because per contract is 100 shares, 1,700 times 14 cents, which is what, 238 something. That's what I pocketed in terms of my premium. Now, mind you, this is weekly, so if this were monthly, it would be really high. Anyways, I got it at 12 cent. I got it at 14 cent. Right now, it is trading at 4 cents. It's already heading towards zero, or heading towards expiring worthless. So I've already pocketed 75% of the gain. Now, typically, I would put a sell order when the last price hits. I have a limit order that sell automatically when this hits 1 cent, so that I can move on to another trade. And at that point, I've pocketed almost all my gains, and I'll just move on to another trade. Hope this was fun. Let me know in the comments if you do covered calls. Love to hear about new ways to make money. Thanks for watching. Until next time, peace.